You are tuned in to Making a Difference with Melissa Billy Clark. This show shares compelling stories and experiences of well-known faces and everyday people who change the world in big and small ways. Get ready to open your mind and your heart with Melissa Billy Clark.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us on Making a Difference. I'm your host, Melissa Billy Clark. We are so excited for this episode because it's all about, well, superheroes. We talk with New York City police officer Michael Hartridge, who participates in the annual NYPD Sleigh Ride. We go over the amazing work these officers do for the communities around New York City during the holiday season. But first, we speak with celebrity TV show comic book artist Greg White, who uses superheroes to help improve mental health. So who's your favorite superhero? Mine's obvious. Hi, Greg. Thank you so much for being part of our Men's March. This month, we celebrate men and all they do to help make a difference. We have Spidey, our co-host here. He left his web to be with us today. He's here especially for you. Greg. Greg, you are an award-winning independent comic book artist. Tell us about the work that you do.
Oh, sure. And by the way, it's such a pleasure to be here, Melissa. And what's up, Spidey? You rock.
Greg.
Oh, my God. It's been such an incredible journey to get to this point now where I'm creating my own characters. By the way, I'll introduce you. This is Codename Justice, and this is thedactyl, based on my upcoming comic books. And if you get a chance, by the way, you can see my new comic book, which is called Gekido, Gekido, co-created by writer Brandon Wilson and me, the artist. So check that out at beyondcomics.tv.
You're so talented. You know, this is amazing. We're just so honored to have you. You're a famous guy. I mean, if you check him out on check him out on Instagram, he's amazing. So tell us about the work that you do.
Oh, sure, definitely. So, you know, I'm creating new superheroes with new storylines and new superpowers. And that's what I've been kind of doing here in the art studio in New York City, which has been a real treat. Running the business side of it is incredibly complex, but, you know, being able to kind of tap back into that creative, you know, flow of the juices that kind of inspired me as a kid, like with Spidey. I mean, oh my God, I so incredibly was inspired by the superheroes, you know, that I grew up with. Spidey, you know, Superman, Batman, all the classics. So I wanted to kind of, you know, keep my new characters in that kind of traditional, you know, superhero classic value, but also adding something new superpowers and new storylines and, you know, something that people haven't seen yet, but kind of that connects in today's world, especially because a lot of the creators who came up with our favorite heroes back in the day, you know, unfortunately, most of them have passed away. So, you know, we're in a kind of phase where corporations are running some of our favorite classic superheroes like Spider-Man, like Superman, like Batman. The original creators, you know, they're not here anymore to continue those storylines. So there's an incredible amount of talented people out there, but the creators of those characters have already passed. So this is why I'm trying to, you know, breathe new life into new heroes and kind of contribute in my own little way as an independent artist to this beautiful world of superheroes out there and hopefully inspire people, you know?
When did you get started in creating characters and how did you break into comics?
Well, that's a great question. One of the things I did, like I was drawing since I was 2 years old, and I started teaching art classes at age 15. And then by age 19, I was super honored that Todd McFarlane from the Image Comics Spawn had hired me, which was my first paid gig, to draw the pin-up poster, the double-page spread poster in Image Comics Spawn issue number 30. They're publishers of The Walking Dead. You've probably seen the TV show on ABC. And it's cool because Todd McFarlane and I actually did a video that we shot together talking about him actually hiring me professionally and, you know, that being my first professional gig in comic books. So it was nice that he and I were talking about that on camera together recently. So it was a great experience to kind of break into the whole comic book scene that way, and then just try to, you know, learn how to create my own company here at beyondcomics.tv and create new superhero characters.
Now let's talk about the guys behind you. What was your inspiration for them? And please introduce them again for people.
Oh yes, okay, sure. So this is my upcoming comic book called Codename Justice, and he deals with the conspiracy theories and to get to the truth behind the corruption and what's really happening in our world. And sometimes terrorists can wear business suits. There's a whole kind of conglomerate that's going on in the world, and I wanted to acknowledge that kind of controversy and really kind of hit it on directly and deal with it. And the whole point of him having this earth as his symbol is to say, hey, we're all one. We're all human beings in this world. We're all brothers and sisters of earth, and we're trying to team up together to hopefully combat evil of all kinds and to really come together as a unity, as a human race, instead of dividing everything and everything being separated against. Let's come together. There's always strength in that conglomerate of good people coming together from all backgrounds, all ethnicities, all religions, all races. We're allowed to disagree with each other. It's okay. We don't have to hate. Let's just all come together and find some common ground and really help one another through life. That's kind of the point of this, character's existence, is like a reflection of that. And also to try to rectify a lot of the things, even in my own life. When I was younger, I had done like an earlier version of the character, and I was so young and so naive. I didn't know anything. I would just believe whatever the media said. Oh, there's good guys, there's bad guys, there's this. I didn't understand life. So I think having that personal journey of growth to understand my own mistakes and try to rectify them is a way that this character, I think, can help people grow as well. So that's Codename Justice.
I love that so much, because you do bring in what's happening now, and Michael knows about crime and everything, and the bad that we have in this world and what we've been going through these past couple of years. So that's amazing.
Spidey? Wait a second, he changed his name on us.
Oh no.
The secret identity, don't blow it.
Sorry about that. Now tell us about the other guy. Oh my God, this is amazing.
Oh, yes, so this guy over here, this is thedactyl, and the book will be called thedactyl: Life Beyond Death. I just finally finished the final version of the 130-page screenplay to the movie of this, the animation, the comic books are coming. This has been a huge undertaking, and I also finished the screenplay for Codename Justice recently as well, and we have an Emmy Award-winning producer who's been, working on us and kind of kicking my ass to make sure everything is perfect, and it's been really an enormous journey. I've written probably over 100 drafts of that script until we perfected it and got it in this kind of staccato way. And one of my big inspirations as a writer, even though I draw, I also write. And I thought I knew how to write until I actually met real writers, and that's when I had to go back to the drawing board, as they say, and really kind of learn that profession, by itself. And Sid Field, who's an incredible writer, God rest his soul, an incredible teacher. He was James Cameron's teacher, actually. So I learned from him as well. And that really helped so much in understanding, just like when you're drawing a character, there's a structure that you have to follow. Writing has that same structure. It doesn't matter how great your idea is, it still has to fit in that structure and hit those target points, and it's got to work in an international, global way. So that's kind of what I had tried to do. So just back to this character, thedactyl, he basically is going to come across this ancient Egyptian armor. I don't want to blow too much of it. That kind of, takes him over, and he's got to learn how to harness and control it to try to bridge the gap between the past, present, and future. And there's a lot with this character that I think really deals with a lot of the things that people like Neil deGrasse Tyson hit upon. There's a lot of interesting spirituality and science tied up into this character, and I think we're going to hit some real big things, everything from spirituality to Mandela effect, and actually trying to create a real scientific hypothesis to quantify an understanding of how to back up those theories. And that's kind of woven throughout the storyline of this super character, the superhero character trying to save the world and kind of become the hero that he never planned to be,
Yeah, I love the way that your face lights up when you're talking about these characters and you love what you do. So, my question to you is, we have a little boy who loves to draw and he loves superheroes. What advice would you give to a young artist who wants to do what you're doing?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say, like, especially the kids, if they're really young and their parents are there, don't push them. Just kind of put things in front of them and see if they gravitate toward it naturally. That's the number one thing to do, whatever the career is. I think if you kind of impose or force, that person will grow up to potentially rebel against it sometimes. So just lay out the options and see what they naturally gravitate toward in all areas of life. I think that's the way
Yeah.
people can find their true authentic self, right? And I was very blessed that both my parents were so and have always been so supportive. My dad was a huge comic book fan as a little boy, and he had the first issue of Action Comics Superman's first appearance, #1, 1938, which is amazing. He was a little boy. He's like 6 years old at the time. And, it was his first big purchase, 10 cents, And then when he grew up, he gave that comic book away to another little boy when he was older. And then, of course, last summer, I think it was, Superman Action Comics #1 sold for like $3.6 million. So had he only held on to it.
That's true.
But he was a giving man, so.
We dedicate this show in his honor.
Thank you so
I know
much.
that you lost him 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. So
Yes, he's a
dedicate.
wonderful guy. Martin Joel-Wyke, if you guys look him up, he was
God
great.
bless. He was pretty famous. Yeah, he was pretty famous.
He's
He
a
was
really wonderful human being. He's a great guy. He did a
yeah.
lot of help, with mental health is what he did. Mental
Yes.
health, tried to help people. And even honestly, like, it was amazing because even if people couldn't afford treatment, he would treat them anyway. That blew my mind. He just was
Yeah.
wonderful that way, very authentic.
We thank him for his service while he was here. Thank you so much for continuing his legacy, and you're amazing. So you are the owner of BeyondComics.tv, which is a superhero comic book company. How does mental health come into play, and why is it so important for you to light up someone's day with your work?
Well, that's actually like a really wonderful question. It's truly the driving force behind why I do what I do. If my characters who suffer from depression, like most of us have at some point in our adult life, especially that, if my characters can reduce suffering just a little bit, then I feel like I've helped contribute something positive to everybody. And that's truly why I get up in the morning to do what I do. I mean, I'll never forget, I went to a comic book convention, when I was signing some autographs for some of the wonderful supportive fans out there. And this young girl in a wheelchair comes up to me. And, it gets me emotional to talk about it. But, she said to me, she's like, thank you. And I was like, well, for what? What are you talking about? And she's like, no, she's like, when I read your comic book, I forgot my problems for 30 minutes, and I felt alive, she said. And thank you for that happiness. And I teared up, like, it really hit me. I gave her a big hug. She was so lovely. And that's what this is really about. You know what I mean? So when we're drawing comic books or we're writing comic books or we're, doing what we do, it's really about trying to inspire people of all ages, children and the children within us, to really kind of come back to a simpler time where we have hope again, where there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So that really is truly why I create these characters. And both characters, Codename Justice, Ray the Dactyl, and also let me get this and show you guys. There's another character I have, if you could see it, named Tricity.
She's
over
beautiful.
Here. Oh, thanks. And she is attacked, and she helps children with special needs. That's the action figure, by the way, that came out of my Feistin TV League, which is a great dream come true there. But she is also a character who is taken by evil people, but she's so mentally powerful that she's able to figure out how to use what they've done to her. They've turned her into a weapon, and at the same time gave birth to their executioner, because she uses that power to stop those evil people and to empower the powerless. And there's a reason why the designs of each of my characters, including her, look that way. There's a story behind the design of the costume. It's very intentionally designed. With Tricity, actually, this is kind of something I wanted to talk about too. I studied attack points on the human body. And, you know, they cut out the pieces of clothing where people would grab or attack: the shoulders, the stomach, the hips, the thighs, the legs, etc. And her skin is deadly to the touch. So they're instantly, those villains instantly die the moment they reach for her. And that's why it is not to look sexy. It's to make those guys totally get knocked down. And there's like a whole story. I don't want to blow the whole story, but there's a lot behind this. And it does, by the way, I just wanted to show you here, it does star Adrienne Curry, winner of America's Next Top Model and Stan Lee fans, as Tricity. So she officially portrays that character, which was like really exciting for us to, you know, get her on board and things like that too.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, we're going to talk about the celebrities that you've turned your characters into life. So, but my question to you is, with these wonderful characters behind you with depression, what's the power that they have to do they have a power that overcomes depression?
That's a great question. So yes, so both characters, Codename Justice and the Dactyl, are, you know, they're suffering. They're at the end of their rope. The depression is consuming them, about death, suffering, dying, all these kind of issues. And right at the end, they are forced to make a decision, and they choose to do what's right and help others, and kind of along the way discover their own sense of hope and purpose again, and to realize that they can be fulfilled as a human being simply by helping others and each other, and using their powers, even though they never asked for that, to do something good. So there's a tragedy that occurs with these characters, and they kind of overcome that by trying to make a positive out of the negative. And that's a very important thing. In real life, when tragedy hits, it's very important that we as human beings try to band together, come together as a human race, all of us, and really try to reduce the suffering of each other and for each other. You know, that's super important. So these characters have that motif, you know, woven into everything I do. And it's kind of the way I think I've grown to become as a human being. You know, it's like that to me is what makes sense. You know, how can I reduce not only my own suffering, but other people's suffering? And nobody knows what people suffer from. You might see somebody and think they're fine and not realize that they're having severe pain, or that they have crippling injuries, or, you know, or that they have a disease. Nobody knows what people are going through. Chadwick Boseman, God rest his soul, you know, who played Black Panther, is an incredible example of that, you know, where he put on this wonderful smile to let people be happy in the moment that he was living, to play that wonderful character in the movies, and nobody knew that he was dying of cancer. Nobody knew what he was going through. So, you know, so you can't assume, hey, he looks strong, he's healthy, he's good. Nobody knows what people are suffering from. So we should all treat each other with kindness and courtesy and respect, and really grow as a human race that way, and not be distracted by the negative media trying to divide us and separate us. We're all human beings. We bleed the same. We all got skeletons under this costume we wear as skin. So let's all come together and do some positivity for one another, you know?
Yeah, people are not alone. You know, just in January, we lost Sleigh. Yeah,
that was really sad.
She had high functioning depression, and yet we have no idea what people are going through. So everybody has to be kind. And we thank you so much for bringing light and life to this.
Thanks. I hope it will connect with people today.
Yeah, absolute. And, you know, I wanted to have P.O. Hurtrich on here. He participates every year in the Sleigh Ride, the NYPD annual Sleigh Ride, which I have the honor of covering for the past 4 years. And that's how we met. And we've just been in contact ever since. He's such a wonderful person, and he is a real life superhero. So I wanted to ask you, Michael, I'll call him Michael. Spidey, how do you feel when a child approaches you? I mean, this guy steals the show sometimes. I mean,
that's awesome. I love that suit so much, dude. You really nail it. I'm telling you, if there are kids watching, check out Spidey over there. He's so awesome.
He's amazing, and all the POs are amazing too. I have to add that. But this guy, he gets in these yoga poses, and he's on top of the. We're going to show some photos, but he really gets in character all day. So how do you feel when a child approaches you in these communities?
It's incredible, because you have these kids, and they're coming up to like their idol. This is someone that they idolize, that they want to be, that they want to meet, and they actually get that chance. They're given gifts. They look forward to it, and it's something that they don't forget. It's expanded even more than that, because now it's even over the years. I've noticed that with all these movies coming out and everything happening, I even got now the parents who are like screaming Spidey. They want, oh, move over. I gotta get a picture of Spidey. It's just grown to be so much more, and it's great. I look forward to it every year. It's probably one of the best events, and it's something that they will never forget.
See, that's such a beautiful thing. I even remember as a little boy, I had my old Ben Cooper Spider-Man costume, and it always bugged me that they didn't put the red going down the arms and everything. So I took fabric and felt, and I'm stitching it as an 8-year-old child to complete my Spider-Man costume, because I loved it so much. So it's a thrill as an adult to see him as Spider-Man. So awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm like she said, there's pictures. I'm hanging off everything I can possibly climb. So it's like I portray the character so that it's believable.
Yeah.
And
do you ever get hurt? Do you ever fall off or something?
No. I've been very fortunate.
That's awesome. By the way, you know what? You would probably appreciate this for this character over here, Codename Justice. I sent the suit. I designed the costume, and I sent it to Afghanistan to have it lined with actual armor inside. So it's like 80 pounds of like bulletproof armor to see if I can make a functional superhero suit.
Oh, wow.
but don't test it, because I usually pull the armor out so that if someone's wearing it for Comic-Con or something, they're not like weighted down. So don't test it, okay?
You're so great. I can't. You really go above and beyond with this, and you've
worked to see if it could work, because that's one of the kind of key elements. My characters, most of them don't have superpowers. Most of them are human, and they have the superpowers, from the suits that they get. So they have to harness those, empowered relics and artifacts and suits and costumes. In this case, he uses technology, actual real life prototype technology, to enhance himself. So there's like all these different kind of little twists and spins that I'm trying to implement to the characters, and kind of do something that people haven't seen before, but can still feel a classic vibe to,
Yeah, you're amazing. Now you've worked with, thank you. You've worked with Image Comics and turned some great people into superheroes, such as Coco, Ice-T's wife. What do they say to you when they turn your character into life?
Oh, that was such an incredible experience. Let me just show you this picture here. I don't know if you could zoom in, but there's a photo over here of us at Comic-Con, and that's Ice-T's wife Coco with my characters and the actors wearing those suits there. It was also like a great thrill when I met up with Stan Lee and Todd McFarlane and some of the other celebrities. And this guy over here, by the way, this is our new business partner. He's just been wonderful, and that's Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa. He is Shang Tsung from the original and new Mortal Kombat 11 video game and movie, and he's also star of The Man in the High Castle on Amazon Prime. So I was so blessed that he joined the company, and I got a chance to turn Ice-T's wife Coco into characters, and him as well. So that's like, I'll try to hold it up if you can see it. So that's the photograph of, no problem, of Coco, and then that's the drawing of her as the character Cleo, and then that's over here. You could see Kari Tagawa, and then the drawing of him as Lord Shinryu, and that's in a new comic book. So I cast the celebrities as characters in our new comic book. So just like you cast a movie, I said, hey, a comic book is like an illustrated movie, so let's do it. And then again, this is the comic that people can download or get online. If you go to beyondcomics.tv, you can see the download link there, and it's available also on Amazon's Comixology. So if you go to comics with an X, comixology.com, and you click on the search, just put in Gekido, Gekido, And you could also go to Izneo, IZNEO.com, and that's the full 53-page version, commemorative edition of the comic you can download, as well as Global Comics with an X, globalcomics.com. So you could download them from there, or you could get the signed original printed copy at beyondcomics.tv. That's the site right there.
Great plugging. I love it. No, because the comic world is a huge place and everybody, they're very devoted. So I love this quote: "You can be a real superhero and save lives just by helping one person in need."
Yes.
Who is your, we'll start with you. Who is your superhero?
Oh gosh, you know, growing up, it has been and has always been my father. He was such a wonderful beacon of light in my life. I would do anything to get him to smile. And, you know, it was interesting to see him because as a child, he loved superheroes and comic books. Like I was saying earlier, he had the first issue of Action Comics #1, Superman. And, you know, he was such a fan of even Spice Smashers and the Phantom. That was his time. Those were his characters, his heroes, the original Human Torch. He would show me all this stuff. And he even showed me the serials, the old serials, which are these black and white, you know, 14-part or so, you know, episodes of superhero characters like Shazam, which was called Captain Marvel, but that's Shazam in today's titling world. Now Marvel got the rights to the name and stuff. But it was great to see that. And, you know, the original Batman and Spice Smasher and Captain America and Batman, and like I said before, they had 2 of those, Superman, and they would show those little opening serials before your feature film. So he grew up with that stuff as well, and we would get these old VHS tapes that he'd find for me, and I loved watching those with him. But when I grew up to actually draw comic books, and you know, and he and I got to play with my action figures that we had made, that I had showed you earlier, you know, that was a dream come true. And his face lit up like a little child, even though he was an older man. And he just said, like, it blew his mind that he loved comics as a kid, and then, you know, gave birth to his own son, who ended up creating comic book characters.
Yeah, yeah.
So he loved that. And by the way, just if you wanted to see this, I thought I would show this to you guys real quick. This is the action figure from TB League Fison. They did the Stan Lee action figure. I don't know if you can zoom in on it, but I'll try to show you this. It's of the character Tristan.
Amazing.
Oh, thanks. And the mask comes off there, you could see, and it has seamless synthetic skin, so it moves without any visible joints, with a titanium steel skeleton inside for about 28 points of articulation, and you could kind of, you know, see all the motion of the action. So it's a cool thing to have if you're an artist and you want to draw, you know.
Cool. That is cool.
You made it pretty busty. You gave us some big boobs.
It's okay. Right. I gave them also, in case you didn't notice. They're big and strong. I wish I had a chest like his 8-pack over here, you know.
I think he has him too. I want to ask Michael who his hero is.
I'm gonna have to piggyback off him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2. I'm gonna say it's a duo. My parents, my mother and my father.
Yeah.
My father, he's been a symbol of strength from when I was a kid, and smart, able to fix anything. I can go to him, he can fix it. Didn't matter what it was. He just had the brain for it, and he's been going through a lot. And he's a tough man. He's 74 now. He's battling cancer, but
I'm sorry,
man. Strong. He is very strong. Nothing stops him. And my mother, she's the warm heart, you know, the generosity side of it.
Yeah.
I feel like I grew up getting the best of both. And
see, that's a beautiful blessing, man. I think we were both lucky that way. And you know, my mother was always so, like you said, she was the warm heart, I think, that softened, you know, my dad. Like my dad would always say, you know, that he was more practical and more kind of, you know, methodic in his work. And then she kind of lent a sense of warmth and humanism to everything that, you know, made things a little bit softer, just like you're saying. So yeah, it was great too. Like, you know, mom liked like Little Lulu and those kind of cartoony comics and stuff at Disney. But I love that she always participated with my dad and I and supported us. So, you know, kudos to her too. But man, you know, that excitement that, you know, we get growing up as children to see our characters come to life. Like, actually, I should say this to you too. I was able to take my dad to the Avengers movie. And I have a little clip. I videotaped this in the theater when they had Captain America and Iron Man appear for the first time together on screen in real life. My dad's face lit up like a Christmas tree. He couldn't believe it, because think about how many years as a little child he's waited to see that come to fruition on the big screen. So it made it real for him, and he lost himself for a second. He literally felt like a kid in the candy store for a second. It was beautiful, you know. So I think we got very lucky that way to have family that we are inspired by, you know.
It's an incredible time to be alive.
Yes.
We thank you both for being here. We're going to be doing an interview with Michael. He has amazing stuff going on outside of his NYPD job, but we thank you both.
I was just going to say, like, that's the thing that blows my mind, is that how superheroes inspire people to be real life heroes. So, for example, super kudos to Mike, because this is a guy that I learned recently from you guys. This is not just a guy who's doing charitable work as Spidey, once a year in the sleigh ride Christmas thing. He became a real life superhero as an NYPD officer to try to help people, to try to help the community, to try to help. There's a lot of good people out there, and that's what the media should be focusing on. All the good-hearted, honest, helpful people who love each other, who don't want to have divide, who want to bring people together. They kind of only show the negativity because it sells ad spaces and it creates drama and more clicks. But what about really good-hearted people who donate their time, like Michael's doing on his off time, to help children of all backgrounds? That's a beautiful, respectful thing. And my father, also being inspired by superheroes, grew up to become a real-life superhero as a doctor and contribute his time to help those in need, even those who couldn't afford it. So that's the power and importance of superheroes. They teach children, love each other, help each other, and empower the powerless. That's why we do this.
Yeah. We thank you so much for being part of it. Thank
you.
you. Thank you to the NYPD as well. You guys are amazing. We'll always support you and we'll always back the blue. But we thank you both so much. And please stay tuned for our interview with Michael.
Yes, definitely. Oh, and before I forget, I didn't want to forget, I'm running a little contest. So it's like a contest where fans and people, if they follow us on social media, they have a chance to have their name pulled and either have it drawn in the background of the comic book or graffitied on the wall where the superheroes are fighting in the comic, or possibly even get a chance to be drawn as a character in the comic. So if they go to beyondcomics.tv, they can click on the 4 social media links on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and also I think there's a TikTok we got there too, and Facebook. So if they just follow those and subscribe and like, boom, they'll automatically have a chance to have their name drawn.
Thank you so much. Yes, please head over to beyondcomics.tv and be part of that. And we thank you so much for being part of our Men's March, the both of you. Thank you.
Thanks. It was a pleasure. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.
We are back with Michael Hurtridge, and you are a filmmaker. You're an artist, right? You're a writer.
Yeah, to an extent on all 3.
But I have you on here because not only were you so wonderful to be in our first segment, but now we have you here in the flesh. So I am a huge animal advocate. I've told you this, and so are you.
Yes.
So tell us about your filmmaking and what animals have to do with it and your passion.
Well, like I've told you before, I've done a few independent films with Dolphin Pictures, for one. Great people. I would work with them anytime. And they know about the story that I'm going with in regarding to making a film regarding animals and especially rescuing them.
Recently, you lost Molly.
And it was a he and a she. And this little ball of fur popped out one day and was holding in the palm of my hand. This little cat. Holding it, was crawling up to. He was always like by my neck, always attached to me. I was like, all right, it's kind of cute. I like you can stick around a little bit, and it followed me everywhere.
Yeah,
I love that cat, and it had the personality that came with that cat was like, it was. I couldn't even really explain it. I felt like it actually gave me hugs when I came home after like a long day.
Yeah,
and I picked her up and I was like, I feel like she's hugging me. It was
animals.
It was a one of a kind I mean, I never had a cat prior to that. I've had outside door cats.
Yeah.
But one that actually was living in house, the attachment that came with it, it was unexpected. It blew me away. And unfortunately, time took its course with that one as well. Life cycle.
And
that one hurt.
She passed away when? Last year?
July 20th of 2020.
Wow. You know the date.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, do you think that she knew your job and the danger of it, and she just really, you think that she was your spirit animal? Maybe that's why you were so attached to each other.
Perhaps it could have been. I mean, I'm sure like her welcoming was like, man, where have you been all day? Like, you're home finally. Yeah. Come here, give me a hug.
Animals are amazing. So I'm just so happy that you're doing filmmaking along with animals, and you're bringing awareness to animal rescue.
Yes, I definitely am in the process of writing a film. I have to grip the audience with this, and it has to be where it takes you, and it's got you now.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's going to jump. It's going to jump, and it's going to show another side of a story to it, where it's like, okay, how are we going to get up to where we just started?
Yeah.
Well, this opening scene that I saw, how is it going to lead up to where I'm at right now? Like, how's this going to work? And when it does, by that point, it's already 180 on itself.
Sure.
It becomes a whole different movie. It's going to really target the heart. It's going to pull on your heartstrings, and it's going to send the message.
Yeah.
It's going to send a powerful message. And it's a shame because my imagination can run wild at times. And it's a shame that sometimes I can't put on display for everyone to see. And I hope one day I can.
Yeah, totally. Well, we thank you so much. You guys, you can reach Michael over at Michelangelo411 on his Instagram. And if you'd like to donate to ASPCA, please do. And my favorite is North Shore Animal League in Long Island, which you're from.
Yep.
Won't give too much information, but thank you so much for everything that you do. Thank you for being part of this men's march that I created, and I wanted
Appreciate
to.
it.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything that you do, and please, guys, support your local police officers and always give them a thank you. So, thanks so much. Have a great day.
Hello, once again, and welcome to Joyful Journeying with Steve and
Diana,
helping you to seek, find, and live your purposeful path. As a longtime martial art instructor and fitness coach, I've always enjoyed the opportunity to help enhance people's lives, but not just through fitness and self-defense and awareness, but at the core of it is helping them to establish a balanced freedom, both mentally, physically, and spiritually.
well, I'm Diana. I'm a mom, I'm a grandmother, and I feel that God qualifies the unqualified to share their experience and to share joy.
So what's a better thing to do than share joy while we're on this journey? So today's focal point is going to be on pain, something that we always not everybody wants to deal with or even talk about. And that's one of the biggest issues when it comes to pain. If we want to have a joyful life, then we have to be able to embrace all experiences. Nobody really has an issue embracing like times of joy and love. Maybe you're at the altar getting ready to marry your loved one. Boy, you're not going to deny that, right? Maybe your child was just born, and that special miraculous moment that's probably the most, or if not one of the most profound moments in your life, you don't deny that. But sometimes we can try to deny the experience of pain. Keep in mind, all experiences are for our learning, so we don't want to deny any of them. So let's talk about pain, because it might be one of the things that's causing you suffering and keeping you from having that joyful journey. All right, so I like to say there's two types of pain. We're not talking about the mental, emotional, physical. Those are ways we may experience pain, but where does pain come from? Let's talk about the source of pain, all right? So I think of it in two different ways, and you can disagree with me, but this might be helpful. Is pain that comes into your experience, which is pain that you had no control over. You know, for instance, if lightning strikes my house and now I have to fix it, that could be like a pain of fear, that could be a pain financially. I had no control over it. So you will get pains in life that you have no control over. But the other pain often is the pain that you bring into your experience, or perhaps the way you dealt with the outside pain, and then you had made it worse, or you've operated in a way that it magnified it, and maybe you're carrying it way too long and you're not dealing with it. So we often are suffering our own pain a lot of the times. But yes, pain does come into our experience that is outside of our control. So think of those two ways. And I think that may be a helpful way on where and how we start to deal with them. Do you agree?
Yes, completely. I feel pain is unavoidable. If you are alive, you will experience pain one day or another.
Absolutely.
Sooner or later.
Yes. You know, we say it's like two sides of the coin, or yin and yang. Nobody is against feeling love and gratitude and all those wonderful and positive feelings. It's like a pendulum. So the higher and higher we want to experience those wonderful feelings, a pendulum always goes the same exact distance, the opposite direction. So, expect. I think that helps too. Expect that pain will be part of the experience. And I'm not saying welcome it, but don't deny it. You have to be able to be open to experience both ends, because both ends give you equal learning. If I have the experience of love and excitement, maybe in my newborn or a loved one or a tremendous achievement, there's a lot to be learned, and it's a huge experience in your life. Who would say no to that? But there's just as much to be learned from the pain equivalent on the other side. So we can't say no to that, because if we do, we're denying it, and it won't go away. It's still going to be there, and we rob ourselves of the experience of it. Don't worry about judging it. Don't worry about trying to interpret it. First, just learn to accept it. So our goal, like we said, for each week is to pick a subject and also offer a method that may be useful for you in order to deal with some of these things that we're going to deal with on our journey, so that we can make them be a truly learning experience for a joyful journey. All right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So when it comes to pain, I like to say the first part of the method obviously is acceptance. Okay? It's like your house. All right? This is you. This is your experience. If you want to open the door to positive experiences, but then close them to negative, or what you feel are negative, then nothing's ever negative, because you can learn it. Then what happens is you're shutting the door of your house constantly. And your house is no longer a house. It's more like a what?
A jail.
Like a
A
jail.
prison.
Yeah.
A prison.
You trap yourself and you rob yourself. So keep your door open. And to be a little humorous is, imagine it's the holidays and you don't want to invite that uncle or that aunt over, or those cousins, because they're painful to have over. But you know what? If you don't invite them, they're going to keep asking. And then you're going to go through all lengths of tasks to try to avoid them. And in that, the pain is even worse, right? Because it never goes away, and there's uncomfortableness. And that's what we do sometimes with pain. We'll look for, is that them calling? Or try to avoid the family reunion. Open your door. Allow them in. All right?
Or also, like the thorn. Like if you have a little thorn somewhere in your body, you avoid it. It's always there. And no matter what you do, you're always going to rub it against something, and it's going to hurt so much. But then what you try to do is stay away from things. Why don't we just take it out? That way we don't avoid it, but we deal with that. We deal with the pain, and we just pull it out.
Yes. And actually, at least say, hey, there's a thorn. Okay, let's acknowledge, accept that it's there. And what should I do about this thorn? Sometimes you have to take action to pain, and sometimes you do just the opposite. Sometimes you just allow it to be. Thorn is one approach, because some pains operate that way. The relatives, what do? When they come in, if you start fighting with them, it makes it worse. The pain accelerates. So if I start fighting and start resisting against pain, so let them into the house. You don't also have to engage with them and have this, all this attention and energy given to them. Simply just let them do what they're going to do. And after some time, your door's open, they'll leave. Right? In good time, they will leave. Pain will come, pain will go. The only reason it doesn't go is that we hold on to it. So allow it to come in, observe it. That's your methods. Allow it to come in, accept it, observe it, let it be, and then simply let it go. When will it go? It goes when it goes. When does a flower bloom and blossom? When nature decides. When does it leave you? Depends on your environment.
When you're ready.
What's going on with you, and depends on the nature of the pain. But it will go. And say, let me just give it time to go and give myself the okay to feel the pain and just say, this is an experience. I'm lucky I can have the experience because at some point I'll be able to handle worse pains if they come my way. So if I can let this do its thing and go, it won't haunt me for the rest of my life, and I'll be more resilient. I'll be have a little more clarity, and I'll be able to handle other types of pain because I'll develop a sense of knowing how to deal with pain more than I did before it happened. So that's a great method to go into.
Yes.
Anything you want to add to that,
You
Deanna?
always come out stronger. When you go through a storm, you always come out stronger on the
Yes.
other side.
Who doesn't brag, when they've had like some really tough times? It could be a physical pain, it could be, and they bounce back and they have a great life, and they said, it's almost like, kind of marking your successes. And a lot of people brag about what they've survived or what they came out of when they do. So sometimes when I see a huge challenge, I use it for opportunity. If I can come out of this with flying colors and I can still have a great attitude and a great spirit about me, I have something I can kind of not brag. I know some people might look at it that way, but you can be really proud and you can use that to inspire other people, right? Yeah. Which brings us to the most remarkable people in history, whether people like Gandhi, Jesus, whether you talk about, anybody who in history that we looked up to that went through tremendous struggle and challenges, but we admire most about them is they still kept their way. They kept their integrity, kept that spiritual, loving, inclusive positivity about them, even through all the hardships and struggle. So that obviously is some of our greatest attributes, is our ability to come through pain and still do well. So look at it as an opportunity from the other end when you finally get there. All right. So hopefully we can look at pain in the right light, look at it, accept it, okay, view it, understand it, and then release it. All right. So I'm really happy you guys tuned in today. And if you have some comments and you have some things you'd like to share back, you can reach us through our email at aimtobefit21@gmail.com. We're also Aim to Be Fit on our Instagram and our Facebook page. We'd love to hear your comments and maybe suggested topics, because we want to address things that maybe are in need for your healing. So once again, thank you. This is Steve and
Diana.
And for tuning in for Joyful Journeying.
I think we can all learn one thing from one another.
God bless.
This episode is sponsored by Preferred Health Magazine.
Hi, I'm Angelina Cappiello, publisher and editor-in-chief of Preferred Health Magazine. PHM hosts interviews with today's top physicians, experts in the healthcare industry, and some of today's most beloved celebrities. So head on over to www.preferredhealthmagazine.com today to receive your free digital subscription. And be sure to catch me on our new podcast, Talking Points with Preferred Health Magazine, streaming now on Spotify and YouTube.
Thank you for tuning in to Making a Difference. I'm your host, Melissa Billy Clark. If you'd like to learn more about our show, please visit our website at melissabillyclarkshow.com. If you'd like to sponsor or be a guest, email melissa@melissaclarkshow.com. Let's make a difference together.